In this video I'm going to showcase some upcoming games which I think are worth looking forward to. Some of the games in this video have a solid release date set in stone. I have trust issues when it comes to games with no official release date, but others have a release date for some time this year which could of course change, but despite my inbuilt skepticism, these games still got a rise out of me. See what I did there? And yes, Monster Hunter Rise is definitely on my radar, but with it being Nintendo only for the time being, it's only getting an honourable mention at this point. For now I'm looking at games that will be available on multiple platforms. I'm using official information, not leaked info, which means that Elden Ring, which yes is also on my radar, won't be in the list. Okay, let's go. Biomutant is a single-player, third-person open-world post-apocalyptic kung fu RPG with a unique martial arts style combat system allowing you to mix melee, shooting and mutant abilities. A plague is ruining the land and the Tree of Life is bleeding death from its roots. The tribes stand divided, in need of someone strong enough to unite them, or bring them all down. The game is set to have thousands of potential gear and mutation combinations. Combat is fast-paced, and by learning new wushu techniques from masters and from your own progression and mutation, the combat system constantly evolves. Choices you make during your playthrough is said to have a huge impact on the story too. The game is available on May 25th and will be coming out on Xbox One, PS4 and on PC. There have been hints at a specific version of the game for next-gen consoles, but no official announcement about that has yet been made. Hud Outlaws and Villains is gang warfare set in a violent medieval world. Your goal is to outplay rival gangs in intense PvPvE multiplayer heists. The game is based on 4-player teams, each given the task of making their way through PvE defences to a treasure. You have to steal the key for the vault, move the chest to an extraction point and defend it against both the sheriff and his men and the opposing team. There are 4 classes to play, including Hunter, Archer, Brawler and a Mystic, each with their own weapons, gear and perks. Between heists, you can use experience points and treasure to unlock new perks and cosmetics. Giving money back to the people will increase the range of items available to you in the shops. You can further personalise your heroes with a range of new weapons and costumes, and for some of the more prestigious cosmetics you will need to demonstrate your mastery of each character through both time investment and skill-based actions. The game is set for release on May 10th, but you can get 3 days early access and start playing on May 7th if you pre-order the game. It's available on PC, Xbox One, PS4 and next-gen consoles. Resident Evil Village is the next generation of survival horror and the 8th major entry in the Resident Evil series. With ultra-realistic graphics powered by the RE engine, fight for survival as danger lurks around every corner. The story is set a few years after the events of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, and the all-new storyline begins with Ethan Winters and his wife Mia living peacefully in a new location. Free from their past nightmares, just as they are building a new life together, tragedy befalls them once again. The game looks pretty damn scary and features zombies, witches and werewolves. On top of that, if you pre-order Resident Evil Village, you will also get a free copy of Reverse, which is a multiplayer deathmatch and allows 4 to 6 players where you play as a character from the Resident Evil series against other players. On death, you transform into a powerful bioweapon which can be used against other players. Resident Evil Village is out on May 7th. It's available on PC, Xbox One, PS4 and next-gen consoles. Chivalry 2 is a multiplayer first-person slasher inspired by epic medieval movie battles. The game has been in production since 2017. It features a deep character customization, 64-player battles set in sprawling, multi-stage team objective maps, complete with epic castle sieges and forest ambushes. There will also be a team deathmatch mode. A major development focus for Chivalry 2 has been a complete rework of the animation and movement systems versus the original title, to ensure that the combat both looks and feels weighty and satisfying. Combat involves attacks, parries, ripostes, evasion and blocking. The team seem to have taken the critique for the original Chivalry game into account and have added a variety of new attack types and adjusted the flow of combat to be more natural, flowing, faster and dynamic. Chivalry 2 will be available on June 8th on Xbox One and PS4 and next-gen consoles. The game will also be available on PC on the Epic Games Store and will have native controller support available on all platforms. Sifu is a kung fu inspired 3D brawler from Slowclap, the makers of Absolver. It seems to me a kind of roguelike game with a huge focus on combat. In Sifu you play as a young kung fu student on a quest for vengeance after their family is assassinated. Players will hunt down the killers across a variety of locations in a fictional Chinese city, battling foes through the gang-filled streets. A magical pendant protects the player from death, but with a cost. You'll live to fight another day, but years are taken off your life. Each death will see the student getting older but also wiser, unlocking new abilities along the way. The concept here reminds me a little of Kronos from the Ashes, where taking a death was a double-edged sword, taking years off your life, but also granting bonuses to your combat abilities. The combat looks awesome and I'm excited to give this a shot. Combat is focused on careful positioning and clever use of the environment. Players can use items in the environment to their advantage, such as throwable objects, makeshift weapons, windows and ledges. The game is set for release sometime this year but does not have a fixed release window yet. It will be available on PS4, PS5 and on PC. Scarlet Nexus is a sci-fi action RPG from Bandai Namco Studios and is set in the distant future. A psionic hormone was discovered in the human brain, granting people extrasensory powers and changing the world as we know it. From what we know so far, it seems that this will be similar in a sense to Code Vein, in that you will have teammates with you on your journey. You will have the ability to link with your teammates and borrow their powers. Combat involves melee and psychokinetic abilities and looks super smooth, building up combos and laying waste to your enemies. I'm pretty excited about this one. I like the idea of being an anime style Jedi, throwing items at massive bosses and weaving in and out of combat amidst a rich story set in a futuristic Japanese landscape that combines inspirations from classic anime and western science fiction. There is no fixed release date yet for Scarlet Nexus as yet, but from what we know right now, the release window is set for mid-2021, so a release date announcement will hopefully be soon. The game will be available on PS4, Xbox One, next-gen consoles and on PC. Fist, Forged and Shadow Talk is an upcoming 2D action platformer by TI Games, where players control Rayton, a warrior outfitted with a weaponized backpack which includes a whip, a powerful drill and a bionic fist for a varied approach to combat. Even though this is a 2D Metroidvania style game, the team is focused on exploration. Every district is distinct yet feels part of a larger whole. As you explore, subtle yet increasing changes to your background and level design make the transitions between each region feel wholly natural, with no loading screens between the different areas. The city is said to be packed with secrets, with platforming or combat challenges in each, rewarding you with new upgrades or cool collectibles for their completion. The game is built around a deep and satisfying combat system. Each weapon has its own features and combo chains. There are said to be dozens of enemy types, normal grunts, stronger elites and tough bosses. Each has a unique appearance and a distinct combat pattern. The game is scheduled for release sometime in 2021, but there is no solid release date yet. It will be available on PS4, PS5 and on PC. Black Myth: Wukong is an upcoming action role-playing game by Chinese indie developer Game Science, based on the classical 16th century Chinese novel Journey to the West. Now this one is way off yet, the release window is set to be in 2023, but just look at it. In August 2020, the developer uploaded a 13-minute pre-alpha gameplay video. Within one day, the video had nearly 2 million views on YouTube. We don't know much at this stage, but the gameplay has been described as Souls-like. The player controls Sun Wukong, also known as the Monkey King, to fight through an assortment of enemies. This game has to be at the top of my most anticipated games list, but as it's so far away, I'm trying really hard not to get too excited just yet. And there you have it. Are there any games on the list that got your attention, or other games you've got your eye on that aren't on the list here? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Leave me a like if you don't mind, sub if you're new, I'll wrap it up there. Thank you for watching, take care, stay safe, bye bye now.